Hello! Welcome to another video. I haven't done a little head bob like that in a while. I am standing up for a video. I've decided that this is how I want to do today. So we're stood in the library, slightly different angle of the library I feel. Today I thought I would try and do something a little bit fun, a little bit snappy, a little bit fun. So, I don't know if you will remember, a while back I did a video where I did affirmation cards recommending books. So pulling random affirmation cards and recommending books related to that. I'm going to do something similar today, but I'm going to make it kind of like a quick fire Prism Oracle cards recommending books. So I find these cards incredibly easy to read. They're all based on a colour and a single word. Let's just pop them all out. They've got these beautiful gold gilded edges. You know what? I'm going to link these cards down below for you as well, because I feel like people might ask. They're just off Amazon and they are gorgeous, and honestly, for my like quick oracle card readings, my go-to. So gorgeous cards, and this one on top, for example, it's a red card. It is strength with an illustration of a pillar, and they're all very simple. Cleanse, blue, simple cleansing illustration. Flow with some water on there. Beautiful. You get the point. So they're quite easy to read, quick to interpret. So the plan is I am going to pull us 10 oracle cards, and I am going to try and, as quickly as possible, recommend you a book based on that oracle card. Does that make sense? I think it does. So let's do it. Just going to give them a good shuffle. Okay, card number 1. Cleanse. How funny. Okay, cleanse. So blue, cleansing, refreshing, calming. Ooh, what do I feel for cleansing? Okay, so the one I have picked for cleanse is Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. So this card for me represents, obviously, cleansing. It's clarity, it's calm, it's self-love, and just giving yourself that extra bit of TLC and awakening, almost like a spiritual cleansing, I suppose. And I think that fits this book quite nicely in terms of it's calming. It's kind of a message of clarity within the book. This one follows a young girl called Minli who grows up listening to her father tell her tales of the man in the moon and how the man in the moon can bring greatness to her family, and she thinks, oh, the way that I could bring greatness to my family will be to go and find the man in the moon and ask him for this greatness. And she goes on this journey and finds lots of magical friends along the way, including a dragon that cannot fly. And I think it is like a cleansing of kinds for our character Minli as she goes on this journey and discovers that self-love, that spiritual cleansing, and how she already brings greatness to her family and so on. I think they go quite nicely together, so there is number 1. I think I need to be quicker with my descriptions if I want this to be rapid. Ooh, that one is jumping out at us. We have got strength. How funny. These are all the ones that I gave as examples. Strength. We've got red, we've got strength. I think strength is quite self-explanatory. It is your own strength. Now, what to me screams strength? I feel like I've got a lot of options for this, actually. Red and strength. Something that is shouting out to me, actually, though, is malice. Malice is shouting at me for strength. Also, the red colour scheme just about matches in there with the red wording. But Malice is about a young boy called Corbin, who is a prophesized possible hero, maybe. The lands in which he lives have a very violent past. There have been wars with giants, there are creatures of light, creatures of darkness, and Corbin finds himself in the centre of a prophecy along with another character who is the, like, reflected part of that. So we have the bright star and the black sun. So there are two sides to this prophecy. Corbin finds himself being involved in the prophecy somehow, and it's kind of a debate about who is what part of this prophecy. But Corbin goes from being a very weak young boy in this story to being a man of incredible strength, and I think it is a big journey of strength for him, and I think that works. So that one. Next. That was much quicker that time, I feel. This one. Stop. Ooh. So the stop card kind of seems like it would be bad, but it's not. It's about stopping to take time and reflect. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is a forever stop, but a time to stop and think about where you go next from here. Oh, and you know what actually matches that for me? The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I think the stop card is kind of a message that our main character in here, Amina, deals with. It's something that she contemplates. Is she got to a point in her life as a legendary pirate where she decided to stop, but then this story reflects on her decision of, is it a forever stop? Was it a pause? Is that a life I should go back to? And the factors that make up that decision and lead us on this journey. Fantastic book, absolutely love it, about a legendary pirate captain, Amina Al-Sarafi, and an impossible quest that is offering her so many riches, and no one could turn that down. No one could not be tempted by the offer that she is presented. But is her crew and her family more important to her? Should she stop? Or is the sea calling again? Fantastic book, and I think that goes well. Next. Oh. Frustration. We're pulling out all the red cards. So the frustration card is about, like, taking a pause from what you're doing because for whatever reason, whatever you're doing isn't leading to the success that you want it to. So it's not saying, like, quit. You may have this frustration, but it's about approaching it in a different way. Is there another way that you could tackle this to make it less frustrating for you? And I think for this, I'm going to have to go with more of a, like, personal choice. Less so a book recommendation, more so than a reflection on myself, and say City of Dragons, just because I think this card is what I need to do with this series. I got, like, partway through City of Dragons. This is the third book, I want to say. Yeah, the third book in the Rainwilds Chronicles by Hobb. And this series just became a slog for me at this point, and I'm so incredibly disappointed because I want to continue to the final trilogy of the series, but I'm stuck in the Rainwilds because I got so frustrated with how I was feeling about these books. So maybe I need to apply this logic and think about a different way to approach this to help me get through these books, because currently my brain is just full of negative connotations with this because I wasn't having the best time with this series, which is incredibly disappointing because I have loved the rest of it so much. I just got stuck and I'm frustrated about it. Okay, next. Oh, this one. Surrender. So surrendering is about just letting go of your restrictions that you put on yourself. And I think for me, this in terms of a book recommendation is maybe something super hyped or something that you think could be a guilty pleasure that you're kind of resisting because, like, you're better than that, you know? But are you better than that? Do you just want to enjoy something for the sake of enjoying it? Despite the fact that it might be super popular and not the best. Where I'm going with this is Serpent and the Wings of Night, pretty much. And this is because, again, it's a personal recommendation, or a personal reflection even. This is a fantasy romance with vampires, which for me is very much like a, Jade, no, you won't like that. You're not going to have a good time, but the internet is loving it and thinks you will have a good time. But that's just not you, and I was putting a lot of restriction on it myself. And if you are also not a fantasy romance person, you're big into your adult fantasy and you're like, no, I can't read that. Maybe you could. I ended up enjoying it a whole lot more than I thought I was going to. The romance was a nice slow burn. It didn't feel too cringy, which for me, a lot of fantasy romance, I say a lot as if I've read a lot. The fantasy romance I have read does sometimes feel a bit cringy. I didn't feel that so much in this. I ended up having a good time, and surrender to the hype, maybe. Give it a go. I feel like this could also apply to Fourth Wing, but I haven't read that yet, so I can't recommend it but I need to surrender to the hype on that one as well and give it a shot. Halfway. Oh, that card is desperate to come out. Magic! Oh my goodness. Okay. Magic. Literally embrace the magic all around you. Embrace the magic of real life. Embrace everything around you that could be magical. I have so many options that could work for this. Literally anything fantastical. For magic, I'm going to pick The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is one of my favourite books. This is the Fairy Loot edition and it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But this is such a magical read for me. People say it's kind of slow and hard to get into, but I think the way that the atmosphere and the world is built in here, as well as the magic of the story, and we've got like the god of winter and Vasia's own magical abilities and the little like house spirits and stuff that she can see and how she's got the magical sight and so on. Beyond all of that, just the absolute magic in the atmosphere and the world, I think fits this card so well. It is beautifully written, so atmospheric. I absolutely adore this series. And if you, like me, are possibly into the Slavic folklore and haven't read this, honestly, it's like the core recommendation for any sort of Slavic folklore fairy tale retellings. Read it. But also, if you like that like slow build atmosphere and how magical a world can be, love it. Next up. Ooh, this one. Disruption. Okay, we've got a bright pink disruption. So this card is all about like disrupting the flow, being something new, being something fresh, being something that demands attention, much like this neon pink colour. So what to me would scream something new, something fresh, something that cannot be ignored. We're gonna do a recommendation for one I haven't read just because it's one I'm excited to read. I'm gonna go with Her Majesty's Royal Coven for Disruption. Like, I just think it matches so well cover-wise with that neon pink and the neon pink. But also, I haven't read this, but I know that the reviews and the hype around this book and the people that love it definitely are like on board with the whole it's a disruption, it demands attention, it is a big FU to certain things in life, like it's got a message. I can't vouch for any of this myself because I haven't read it, so this is purely based on vibes and what I've heard from other people, but I think from what I know, this book had kind of an agenda of disruption and making waves, and it seems to have achieved that. I'm gonna slap this on there. As I say, I haven't read this, so I don't know, but I think they match quite well. We have got 3 more to do. Oh, that one jumped out. Confidence. So this card is all about embracing your confidence, being confident, going with it. You are a bad bitch and you know it. What book to me has that sort of confidence about it? Again, I am slightly drawn to ones that I haven't read for this one. Possibly Wheel of Time, maybe The Will of the Many by James Islington, which has only recently come out, but like I am so incredibly confident that that's going to be an incredible book. Any of the Stormlight Archive, because everyone seems to love that, so I'm again drawn to ones I haven't read. But although not ideal, I'm gonna do it. And I am gonna put The Will of the Many against Confidence. Again, this is a personal prediction, more so than a recommendation, but I am confident that this book is gonna be a bad bitch, that this book is gonna be incredible. I've heard incredible reviews about this, considering it's only recently come out. People saying it's the best thing they've ever fucking read. I think this is gonna be outstanding. The confidence I have is strong. That's where we're going with this. I don't actually know an awful lot about this book other than it's James Islington who wrote the Lycanius trilogy, which I read and loved earlier this year. As I say, outstanding reviews. This one is based on Roman mythology, I want to say. I don't even want to read the blurb because I want to go into this knowing as little as possible, but the confidence is strong. I'll let you know when I've read it. 2 more. This one is calling to me. Comfort, a comfort read. Okay. Oh, you know what? No, it has to be. It has to be Legends and Lattes. Like, ultimate comfort, and the pink kind of matches Tandry, which is cute. Legends and Lattes, cozy, comforting fantasy about an orc who opens a coffee shop, and it is Viv and Tandry running this coffee shop. The highs and the lows of it, but it's just comforting, it's warm, it's cozy. There is a bit more of a plot to it than just day-to-day life in the coffee shop, but it is high fantasy with a double shot of self-reinvention, a novel of high fantasy and low stakes, and it is a cozy, comforting time, so perfect. Last but not least, we've had lots of similar colours, I feel, coming through. The pinks, the reds. Come on, jump out at me, something. Last one, make it a good one. Oh, it's that one. Another red. I jinxed it. And we have Rejection. So this card is about reflecting on what didn't work out, reframing the pain of rejection, and kind of the message that maybe rejection is protection. It didn't work out for a reason. What's for you won't go by you, which is something that I believe in life. So rejection, something that didn't work out, but like, it's fine, you know? So I'm thinking for this, maybe I recommend you something that didn't work out for me, but that I can see the appeal of. Oh, you know what I'm gonna go with here? I'm not gonna reach up and grab it because it's right in that top corner, but I'm gonna go with The Storm of Echoes by Christelle DeBose, which is the 4th book in the Mirror Visitor Quartet that starts with A Winter's Promise, which was one of my favourite books. I loved A Winter's Promise, I loved The Missing of Claire de Lune, I loved The Memory of Babel, or Babel even. And then Storm of Echoes, I DNF'd about 200 pages from the end. I loved the story up until that point in that book. It's about a young woman called Ophelia who is kind of given away in a political marriage to a distant snowy ark. This is in a world where all of these arks are like floating islands and they all have like their own political systems, they all have their own like abilities and so on, and our main character Ophelia is sent off to a distant snowy ark to marry Thorn in a political marriage that she can't make any sense of because she is just a nobody. But she has the ability to animate inanimate objects and put like memory and feeling into objects, and she can read an object's past from where it's been, and she can also travel through mirrors. The whole thing overall is kind of an exploration of the gods of this world and the powers that they have, and then when it got to that last book, obviously I won't say why I DNF'd it too much or like what happened, but I just felt like I was going in circles a little bit and wasn't getting the answers that I wanted. I was very upset by that. I have let go of my rejection, and you know what, I can look back on that series and be like, I loved 85% of that series. Maybe even 90%. I just didn't finish that last little bit because it was winding me up at that point, but I loved 85-90% of it, and I can still look back on them with fond memories, you know? So I think that kind of embraces the message of the rejection card. Like, it hurt to be so disappointed by that book, but I can, what's the phrase? Smile because it happened and not cry because it's over. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Either way, that cliche. So I'm gonna go with Storm of Echoes, and my recommendation to you on that basis is A Winter's Promise. Maybe that last 10% wouldn't piss you off as much as it did me. And there we have it. There are my 10 kind of quick Oracle card recommendations for you. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope it's been fun. It was kind of fun to buzz about and get those books and film a video on my feet for a change. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you can think of any like better books to recommend for those cards. If you've got any that you think fit just perfectly, let me know. But otherwise, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye!